You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, presented by the Only One Media Group. This is the people's choice for quality interviews, celebrities, and special guests. Hosted by Demetrius Dinny Reynolds. Call in to join the mix at 701-801-9813. For the complete archive of episodes, visit onlyonemediagroup.com and be sure to like us on Facebook at Vigilantes Radio. We welcome all. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. Enjoy the show.
Hello, and good evening. Welcome to another incredible episode of Vigilantes Radio Live right here on iHeartRadio. And I am your host, Deanie. We have a very special guest for you guys, so you definitely want to stick around for that. And as a matter of fact, text your buddies, family members, or even share it on social media right now and let them know that we are about to dive deep into another interview. Before I bring my guest on, I do want to say, it's all about the moment you begin. Even though today may be far from perfect, it is the perfect place from which to move positively and powerfully ahead. Even though the timing is not completely ideal, this is indeed the ideal time to begin doing whatever you can to get wherever you desire to go. The moment you begin to take positive, effective steps towards your goal, you are no longer behind, because the direction in which you are headed is vastly more significant than where you happen to be right now. This is the moment you can begin to live at a higher level of commitment to those things you truly value. You've learned from the past what has always held you back and what has always moved you forward. So go with those things you know will move you ahead. There are challenges, of course, to be sure, and not everything will go the way that you planned. But that's no reason to deny yourself the outstanding opportunity that stands right now in front of you. You have the power right this moment to make this day one of those days that you'll always look back upon with satisfaction and with delight. The day will quickly pass by regardless of what you do with it, and with little extra effort, you can indeed make it great. Take that from me, Coach Deanie. That is my word. Are you ready?
You're live in the mix. Let's get this started.
All right. Again, welcome to the show. You're listening to VRL. That's Vigilantes Radio Live right here on iHeartRadio. And I am your host, Deanie. Our interviews are designed to go beyond the music, news, books, art, acting, films, technology, education, entrepreneurship, entertainment, and sometimes even past that thing that we call the ego. Our interviews are designed to go behind the scenes and into the minds of these incredible human beings. The ones who are out there giving it their all for me, for you, and for the world. Well, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday, we have the honor of welcoming a distinguished guest to Vigilantes Radio Live. He's a former U.S. Army intelligence officer who played a pivotal role during the Vietnam War as chief of the Outcountry section in the Intelligence Production Division. His deep analysis of Cambodia, involvement in supporting the Vietnamese communists changed the course of military strategy in Southeast Asia. And he's here to share his firsthand experiences and groundbreaking insights from his latest book, The Real Story, Cambodia and South Vietnam, 1953 through 1970. So please join me in saying, welcome, friend, to the remarkable Major F. Terence McCarthy. Hello, hello. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I just want to welcome you to the show once again. And to start off, what has been on your heart and mind lately?
Oh, what has been in my heart and mind lately? Well, of course, I've been making several interviews on my book, and I'm hopeful that, because I wrote that book with the sole purpose that it would reach all of the Vietnamese war veterans, and it would give them a much clearer view of the conditions that existed back then in the 1960s.
Absolutely. And this book that you're talking about is the real story, Cambodia and South Vietnam, 1953 through 1970, yes, which offers a groundbreaking perspective on Cambodia's covert involvement during the Vietnam War. So yes, what inspired you to not only write the book, but to rewrite the book after all these years?
Well, I basically didn't have a good chance to do this because I did not get the book, which was originally classified top secret sensitive. I didn't get that downgraded and cleared for release until the year 2020.
Wow, that's quite a long time.
Yes.
Was it a lengthy process to get it cleared?
No, it really wasn't that bad. I had done a lot of writing and putting things together, and it just dawned on me I needed to get the story out because of the common trait for the Vietnamese veterans was a very low and forbidding majority that they did not have because of of all the things that happened with the Cambodians and the communist Chinese and the restriction of initiation of tactical activity for U.S. forces when they crossed the Cambodian borders.
Absolutely. How did your role as chief of the Outcountry section and the Intelligence Production Division help you uncover these hidden details about Cambodia?
Well, what I did is I examined all the available intelligence data concerning the Cambodian situation and developed new intelligence estimates, which clearly indicated that the Cambodians were not only allowing arms and shipments destined for the Vietnamese communists to be offloaded at the port of Sihanouk, but they were also involved in the transport of munitions across the country to the Vietnamese Cambodian communist sanctuary.
Wow. How did U.S. military leaders react to this?
Well, when I basically sketched out the situation to them, the Washington community still clung to the belief that the Ho Chi Minh Trail provided the bulk of military supplies to communist forces in the south part of South Vietnam. And that was totally in error. And so I devised a strategy to resolve this major dichotomy, I set out to prove or disprove the Ho Chi Minh Trail theory. The use of Cambodian border regions as Vietnamese base camp was not in dispute. The Washington policymakers shrugged at the situation, saying that the Cambodian government's control is very weak.
As you were testing your findings, were there ever moments when you doubted whether the intelligence you gathered would make a difference?
No, because basically I had several constant contacts that, let's see here, because I analyzed the situation for about 40 days and analyzed the out-country situation with special emphasis on Cambodia, and I established the following contacts. With the American Embassy twice weekly, I drove my own Jeep from Thompson Yard Airport and visited the following: the U.S. Embassy, talked to the Cambodian analyst, the CIA station chief, who provided some excellent information, U.S. Naval Forces Vietnam once weekly, the 5th Special Forces twice weekly. They were located in Nha Trang, and I helped them set up with the mountain yards, the mountain folks, a situation where they had a couple of camps in the eastern provinces of Cambodia, and they proved beyond any reasonable doubt that there were no major arms shipments going along the eastern part of Cambodia, because they didn't have any roads for that to be used for. And with the U.S. Navy forces, once weekly, they basically shut out all any sort of supply shipments coming across the coast of the Republic of Vietnam. And then I also had monthly phone conversations with the Australian attachés in Phnom Penh and at the Australian Embassy. They were very helpful in providing current data on Prince Sihanouk. So after 40 days, I had assembled an estimate which included the Cambodian meeting Chi-Com cargo ships, which were delivering the arms and ammunition, Cambodian Army FARC moving the armament supplies to the Cambodian base areas, redefining sanctuaries located along the Cambodia South Vietnam border, and the base camps that the U.S. Special Forces set up. They were located near the eastern Cambodia's Mondulkiri and Ratanakiri provinces, and they were extremely helpful. And also the NSA element at MACV provided complete coverage of communications of BC and NVA units throughout the South Vietnam theater. And they were contacted several times each week to identify the movements of Cambodia. And then every Tuesday at 4:30, we had the arc light strikes that were taken and using the intelligence that we had, and the arc lights were the B-52 strikes. So that really helped us cover the waterfront.
Wow. Major McCarthy, I've watched a lot of TV shows, movies, directed towards the military. My grandfather fought in World War II.
Yes.
But beyond that, I've seen a lot of stories where there's a large operation or maybe even a small operation uncovered, and trust is a major factor, like who you can call, who you could tell, things like that.
Yes, no question about it.
Was that detrimental to your surveillance and information that you recovered?
No, we really had a pretty exact reporting, truthful reporting of these situations in these different areas, and getting the information about the Cambodian base areas was always something that we were seemingly able to get the true story out.
So in the book, I'm sorry.
So initially, I had the intelligence breakthrough that I published in 1969, and and this basically gave us the estimates really gave us a good handle on the Cambodian base areas and their use. So that was very, very helpful to us.
In your book, you mentioned that some of your intelligence reports, and as you mentioned earlier, were classified as top secret, sensitive. How did it feel carrying such high-stakes information, knowing it could influence the course of military operations?
Well, I had a pretty continuous contact, because I would hop in my Jeep and at Tan Son Nhut Airport and drive down to downtown Saigon to the embassy. And there I've talked to the embassy analyst, as well as the CIA contacts. And we all kind of sang pretty much to the same tune.
Right.
And then the one thing that was disheartening, though, is that the intelligence breakthrough, General Abrams, the commander, had me send that to the Pentagon, to the Army staff, and they did not really react to that with. They were they were the ones that were very critical of any sort of reporting like that. So I had to kind of move them around a little bit and get them to join the club.
Mm.
But with the intelligence that I had gained there for 68, 69, the estimates that I sent out, they basically were ignored for the most part by the Pentagon, and I estimated that the U.S. lost approximately 1,000 American soldiers and another 2,000 wounded because of not reacting to the initial reports in the fall of '68 of the intelligence breakthrough. So that was something that I had to continually fight.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there was a political motive behind keeping Cambodia's role under wraps?
Oh, there might have been to some extent. Prince Sihanouk was a very prolific person. He's a real character. So you never knew what he was digging into or doing. So there was a problem, I think, of accepting his views on some of this stuff. So that in the fall of '69, I was moved to the Pentagon. And there I served very closely with General William Westmoreland, who was the Chief of Staff for the U.S. Army. And he supported my investigation. And I put together, under his prodding and tutelage, a 604-page study that was classified top secret sensitive. And then following that, he scheduled an appointment in November of '70 at the White House, where he had me brief President Nixon's Foreign Intelligence Advisory Board and on the information we had developed. Nixon accepted the findings and immediately eliminated the restrictions that were placed on our soldiers when they were fighting the communists in the base areas.
What misconceptions do you believe are most prevalent in public narratives about the war?
Well, that's a pretty good thing. With the SCI information that I had in my office in the SCIF, the classified forces area, we really had to be very careful about any reports that came in that were just not so. And then, by the way, when I went to the Pentagon and took care of the briefing that Westmoreland had arranged for me on for the Foreign Intelligence Advisory Board, that was a real humdinger, and I would just like to read to you the report. This is kind of a good wrap-up of the situation. Hold on. In December 14th, 1970, this document was received from the White House from the President's Foreign Intelligence Advisory Board. It said, "Dear General McCarthy," he's the Chief Intelligence Officer for the Army. "Recently, the President's Foreign Intelligence Advisory Board was directed by the President to report to them daily on the complex and important development, including U.S. intelligence operations. There was a considerable amount of urgency in rendering this report, which involved the activities of both the Washington intelligence community and the intelligence operations that were being conducted in the field by field commanders. In the course of our preparing the report, the board learned that Major McCarthy of the United States Army had been deeply involved. We also discovered that Major McCarthy had since been assigned to their command in Washington. Accordingly, I requested of the Department of the Army that Major McCarthy be permitted to assist the board on very short notice in its deliberations. The Army kindly agreed to do that. And the purpose of this letter that they're sending from the White House is to inform you that Major McCarthy responded to our difficult and probing questions to a degree that went beyond our expectations. He proved to have been extremely knowledgeable in this subject matter and to have profound knowledge of the underlining issues as contemporarily a basis. He was exceptionally articulate. Our resultant report to the President was based largely upon the information he provided and upon his profound insights. Our report was received and appreciated by the President. I would like to express on behalf of the board my thanks to you for making available the service of this officer. He is a credit not only to the Army but to the intelligence community generally. I was sure that an officer of his outstanding qualifications will progress rapidly in the Army's intelligence system. Signed, Gerard Burke, who is the Executive Secretary for the President's Foreign Intelligence Advisory Board. So this, in a sense, is a good wrap-up of this with some details pretty much included. So I hope. Do you have anything else?
I have one final question for you. Cambodia's involvement in the Vietnam War is not widely discussed as other aspects of the conflict. You know, it hasn't been it's been relatively underreported and ignored in history. How would you like your book to contribute to a more accurate historical record?
Well, I would be glad to make whatever contribution you think you might need. I mean, I've got a lot of data, and we really were able to break these situations down and get them out to the field. So I could probably make the flavor of this pretty interesting.
Absolutely. Major McCarthy, where can our listeners purchase the book? Well,
if they want to send, I have several of them right here that I would be glad to provide copies at $18 a copy to Colonel Terence McCarthy at 16, and I'll be glad to sign the books.
Awesome.
Anybody that wants to send me a check and just send it to me in the mail. It's 16 West Greyhound Pass in Carmel, Indiana, 46032. Sorry for today.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And we will include the information in the show notes and in the description of this episode. So listeners, if you want the address, it'll be right there, and you could purchase the book. All right. Thank you so much, Major McCarthy. It was a pleasure having you on the show, and we appreciate your efforts and your service to our country.
I just don't have the speaker system going on. There, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I can hear you too, so.
All right. Well, we were just wishing you well, and we thank you for your service for our country and putting all this information in the book.
Yes, well, that's been my pleasure, believe me. And as I mentioned, my goal in publishing this book was to make sure every Vietnam veteran that I can get in touch with. I want to make sure they get a copy of this, because so many people, because of the restrictions on our offensive activities in the Cambodian base area, had a real morale problem with that.
I could imagine, man. Wow. All right. Well, you have a good night. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, it's been my pleasure, and have a great day.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you, my Vigilantes family, as always, for checking out my podcast over here at Vigilantes Radio Live. All episodes are available for free download, and you can grab it from either Spreaker.com/only1media group, Spotify, Castbox, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, the app Podcast Addict, or over at our website, which again is only1mediagroup.com, and that goes for every single show that we've ever aired. If you like to request some music or send something for me to play, email it to vradio@only1mediagroup.com. That is V as in Victor. And here's my disclaimer: we are genre free, we do not judge, and we absolutely do not base our opinions on hearsay but facts alone. And actually, scratch all of that, because all of my opinions are always right. That's the bottom line. This is my show, so deal with it. Just kidding. On behalf of myself, Denny, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, either afterwards or live with us. Spread the word, because sharing is caring. We stepped up our game just for you guys and our guests to make sure that you have the best experience here on our show. Be sure to connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, and all social media sites, as well as Spreaker, YouTube. We always follow back. Okay, well, just remember to put yourself into everything that you do and never stop investing in yourself. Peace, love, grilled cheese, and talk with you later.
You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality interviews, art, music, and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds of the duo No Longer the Hero. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.onlyonemediagroup.com. This is a Seventh Sign Regime Rebirth Worldwide Syndicate exclusive.